Blackpool Pleasure Beach have raised their on-the-door price to £60, and Merlin have nudged up their parking charges. With 60 to 70 quid for a ticket and you've not even got lunch, are UK parks even worth it anymore? Well, today I'm going to go through all of them and I'm going to give it the full dad value audit. And the part that comes out cheapest might actually surprise you. Right, for round one, let's go with the ticket price then, shall we? And I'm going to go with the on-the-door price. I know hopefully all of you know to buy your tickets online for the better deals, but just for a fair comparison, because most parks now have surge pricing and therefore it varies throughout the year, but their on-the-door price is consistent all year round. So I'm going to use that as the basis. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that price and divide it by the number of attractions. Now, I'm not going to count every single attraction. There are tons of little kiddie attractions that I will not include, but I will go through and count the coasters, the dark rides, the water rides, etc. I'll put them up on screen so you know which rides I've included. But yeah, let's get a cost per ride, shall we? Right, let's start with Legoland Windsor then, a park that I personally haven't had the best experience with, but let's not judge. Their on-the-door price is £68, and I count around about 17 rides, which equates to £4 per ride. Right, next up we've got Blackpool, which only comes in at 60 compared to the 68 we just had for Legoland. I count around 18 rides here, which brings us a value of £3.33. Right, next up we have Chessington, and this one is in a strange place right now because with all the work that's going on, there's quite a lot of attractions missing. On the door price is £66, and I count 12 attractions, making it £5.50 a ride. Right, the park that could be argued to be the most thrilling park in the UK is Thorpe Park, which also comes in at £66, but I count 21 rides, making it £3.14 per ride. And the one that people complain about the most would be Alton Towers. Now their on-the-door price is 68 quid. I count 19 attractions and that makes it £3.57. Right, heading up north to a park that you don't often hear about, and that would be Flamingoland. Now, they've removed a couple of attractions lately, but I count 18 attractions and their on-the-door price is 58 quid, which makes it £3.22 per attraction. The park that keeps winning awards and was named the best park in the UK is, of course, Polton's Park. Now, for many, this is just Peppa Pig Land, but trust me, it is far more than that, and you really need to visit this park. Their on-the-door price is £61.60, and I count 16 attractions, making it £3.85. But the one that kind of surprised me the most, and probably will surprise you too, is Drayton Manor. Now their on-the-door price is only £46, and I count 17 attractions, making it £2.70. That is nearly half the price of Chessington. Right, moving on to round two, and I'm going to throw in something here that is very divisive, and definitely you may or you may not use this, and that is of course Fast Track. Now, ideally, nobody wants to use Fast Track because it's bloody expensive. However, we've all been there on a day where it is really, really busy and there's that one attraction you really want to get on. I did a whole video on this and some people think this is just for the elite and should be scrapped and others think it is essential. I'm not getting into that debate in this video, but I will cover the costs of it, albeit I won't include that in the final cost because, well, hopefully you don't need it. Right, we'll start off with Thorpe Park. Now their unlimited Fast Pass offering is £175. You're not buying that if you're a family of 4. Moving down to Blackpool, well, their unlimited offering is only 55 quid, which is a fraction of Thorpe Park's, and I've used it before, and it's excellent. Polton's don't seem to have Fast Track as such, but they do have a kind of Fast Track offering. It's part of their VIP packages, and they start at 285 quid. So hopefully you're not needing Fast Track at Polton's, and certainly the times I've been there, it's been totally fine and you've not needed it. Drayton Manor's, theirs is £99.99. Alton Towers, 135 quid. Chessington, 85 quid. And Flamingoland don't have an unlimited Fast Pass. They have kind of like one use on everything, and theirs is only 50 quid. Somehow I forgot about Legoland. Legoland's Fast Pass is also the same as Chessington's at 75 quid. But let's be honest, you are not going to want to use a Fast Pass if you're a family, because even the cheaper one ain't cheap when there's 4 of you. Right, so you've got to the park, you've got, before you get in the park though, you've probably arrived there in your car. So you're going to need to park. And this is one of the areas of contention recently with Merlin because they've cranked their prices up. So let's see how it actually stacks up against the competition, shall we? If we start with Alton Towers, theirs is now £13. Blackpool, 20 quid. Thorpe Park, £12. Drayton Manor, £10.90. Chessington, 12 quid.
I forgot Legoland again. Their parking is 12 quid.
And Flamingo Land and Polton's are both free. So if you go there, that is one less expense you need to worry about. Right, so you've got into the park, you've got your tickets, you've parked your car, you're on the rides, happy days. It gets to lunchtime and suddenly the wee ones go, I'm hungry. Well, you're going to need to get some food, aren't you? And that's where this can get really expensive really quickly. Now, before I go through these, it's worth noting that every park except for Blackpool does allow you to bring your own food. And definitely if you can do that, you can save an absolute fortune. Again, I've tried to be kind of roughly comparable on all of these. So where I can, I've gone for pizza pasta, because that's a fairly safe bet in most places. There are exceptions and I'll cover those. And it's also worth noting that at the point of recording, we don't know 2026 prices. So these could be slightly off, but it should give you a baseline for how expensive some of these parks actually are. Right, for Legoland, they do have pizza pasta, but I could not for love nor money find prices that weren't like 4 or 5 years old, and I guarantee they're wrong. But what I did find though is their family restaurant, and in there it says £28 for an adult and 18 quid for a kid. Now, not being funny, but that is bloody expensive. And then if you go to Blackpool, you've got the big pizza kitchen, which I've eaten in many times. Actually, I think one of the better pizza offerings in theme parks. £17 for an adult and 8 quid for a kid. Now, Alton Towers, they did some weird stuff at Halloween where they brought in some seasonal pizzas, which was kind of cool. And I think last year they also introduced a kind of third tier, a sort of teen level. So there was child, teen and adult. But as of last year, at least, it was 21 quid for an adult and 12 quid for a kid. Thorpe Park's pizza offering, 19 quid for an adult and £10.85 for a child. I find this a little strange here. We're talking about multiple Merlin parks offering the same food at very different prices. Speaking of which, actually, I couldn't find the prices for Chessington, so I'm going to assume the same prices as Thorpe Park, given that they're very close together. There's a decent chance that they're similar prices. Now, Flamingo Land doesn't have that pizza pasta offering, so I've taken their coach house where I could get some prices, and typical adult main is around about 17 quid, and a kids menu is £9 for kind of a main course and a little bit of ice cream. Drayton does have the pizza pasta offering, but it's not an unlimited buffet. It is you order a pizza or you order some pasta. I have done both. It is decent food, and the price for that sort of pizza is roughly £15.50, and the kids pasta is about £6.50. Polton's also don't have that pizza pasta offering, but from what I've seen online, the price is roughly for an adult meal is about 12 quid, and for kids is 7. Right, so that brings us to the costs in total then, right? So if we assume that you have turned up as a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 kids, you have not paid in advance, so this is an on the whim, last minute, let's go to the park, so you're paying that full price. Please do not do that, please do not do that. You've had to pay for parking, and I'm going to assume you're not going for fast pass because, well, these numbers would get crazy if we did that. But let's go through them and see who comes out on top, shall we? Alton Towers comes in at 351 quid for a day out. Blackpool comes in at £310, Legoland £376, that's even worse. Polton's Park £284.40, Thorpe Park £335.70, Flamingo Land £284, Chessington £335.70, and Drayton Manor £238.90. That is about 130 quid less than going to Legoland. Right, so there you have it then. Coming out on top is Drayton Manor of all places. Did not see that one coming. This obviously doesn't take into account things like ride operations and ride availability and theming and all the other things that probably impact your day as well. But it does give you that kind of rough value for money. And please, please never turn up and pay on the door. I'd love to know your thoughts on this one though. What park do you think is the best value for money? As always, if you've enjoyed this one, hit that like button. Hit subscribe. I've just hit 14,000 subscribers. As always, I've been Chris, you've been watching Coaster Dad, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.